Is it working? Everyone can hear me clearly? Okay. So let's begin. Shut down the phone. So welcome to PrimeFace session. My name is Cagatay from PrimeTech. I'm the lead developer of PrimeFaces. I'm an expert group of JavaServer Faces since 2010. Now we are working on JSF 2.3. And I'm also the founder of PrimeFaces and also committed to Apache MyFace project. So the PrimeFaces is maintained by PrimeTech, a company in Turkey. We mostly do open source development based on the PrimeFace Foundation. And also time to time we provide consulting and training. Everything is mostly based around PrimeFaces. So any PrimeFace users here? Okay, good. I hope you are happy users. So PrimeFace 6 years old, started in 2009, so it's quite mature recently. It's quite lightweight. We do not really have a lot of things going on in PrimeFace. It's mostly JavaScript and CSS and some Java code to bind things up. And it's quite easy to use because we also use it, and we like to provide an experience that when you use PrimeFaces, your productivity is boosted. And it's only one jar. This jar file is getting a bit bigger, but still only one jar file. And there are no required dependencies. Of course, you have if you use PDF export and things, you need Ajax and so on. Zero configuration. It's more like configuration by exception. If you need to change the theme, you add configuration. If you don't, so you can just stick on with the theme. So who are using PrimeFaces? It's quite a popular project around the world. In Sweden, we have SEB using PrimeFaces. They are also PrimeFace Pro users. There are banks. I mean, JSF is mostly used around in enterprises, right? So PrimeFace users like banks, automotive companies are mainly main users are from Latin America, Europe, and United States, and India as well. So as a 6-year-old project, you can find a little resources on the web like Stack Overflow and Google if you face with a problem. There are many job opportunities. For example, this one is about Washington and Boston. And also on LinkedIn, there are many PrimeFaces recognized as a skill as well. If you compare PrimeFace with the competition in the JSF land, we had Rich Faces from JBoss and iSpace from iSoft. But as you can see, it's like a natural selection. One species goes up and other species, they just go out. And there are also open faces and ADF faces, but they're not really popular recently. PrimeFace is a server-side web framework. So again, Vadim is a server-side web framework. So if you compare the popularity or based on Google Trends, we can see that Vadim has reached its technology peak, and PrimeFace is still going there. Anyone can guess where this photo has been taken? Maybe continents at least. South, I guess it was in Colombia, village in Colombia. They have these PrimeFace stickers on the rear window, so they're really passionate about PrimeFace. I also have this one in my car. So it's like this Transformers kind of logo, so it fits really nice with cars. So this is PrimeFaces. We have over 100 components. We have charts, data tables, tab view, accordions. Mostly in a project, you would need around 30 of them, but if you need more, we have them like menus, tables, and so on. We can also implement something like this with PrimeFaces, although it's not very common. I guess everything you see here is a PrimeFace component, like dialogs, menus, and so on. So it looks like a fake Apple web page. In PrimeFaces, we have extended all the form components, so instead of simple select tags and inputs, we have much more better looking checkboxes, menus, and so on as well. And this enables us to provide skinning on top of these components. The browser support, we provide support and testing for latest versions of all these, let's say non-legacy versions of all these browsers. And regarding IE, we start from IE 8. 8, 9, 10, 11, I'm not sure if 12 is up, but we don't officially support 7. A good component is should hide complexity on the web to provide better productivity like CSS, JavaScript, and Ajax. But since the components are kind of black box, we have to provide a certain level of flexibility. Like you can easily override the CSS to tune it to your needs, override JavaScript APIs, and there are a lot of callbacks. Like, for example, this tab view component. For every click, like tab change, tab show, tab pre-tab show, a lot of events, you can hook in and implement your custom logic. So complexity is hidden, but still you're in charge. The anatomy of the component is we basically provide a little markup. We have these widgets, which we call the JavaScript objects. So they handle the DOM generation, event bindings, Ajax communications, and so on. So it helps us. This widget-based design is usually what you can find in the latest JavaScript frameworks in the like jQuery UI. So we also have widgets, kind of more object-oriented. Accessibility is a concern. I'm not sure if in the laws of Sweden, in government applications, but I guess in the United States there are laws that if you're delivering a project for government, you have to make sure your project is accessible, like keyboard access, mouse access, and screen readers. We are doing a lot of work, and of course there are a lot of components, so we make sure that this accordion panel for screen reader is only this tab is red, and the spinner component, let's say, can be used by mouse and keyboard and so on. So a lot of code. I'm not sure if there's any other rich UI framework that's putting a lot of effort in accessibility, because it's not something very popular in the framework development. But it will be probably soon. So HTML5 is, of course, without HTML5 we cannot have PrimeFaces. We have lots of features like WebSockets and form like file uploads with Ajax and so on. And Ajax and PrimeFaces is provided by standard JSF APIs on the server side. On the client side, we have extended these with our own implementation. And these extensions are, in JSF you can only reference components with their IDs, but in PrimeFaces you can jQuery selectors and so on. We can do partial sub. Most of these stuff are likely to go in JSF 2.3 because we are also in the expert group and we are pushing some of these to be in JSF 2.3 as well. PrimeFaces is mostly about JavaScript and CSS, so we are making sure that they are compressed, minimized, and optimized. So a couple of this showcase is also live in primefaces.org. This is our kind of new showcase. It's been up for like 6 months. So for example, this is also a responsive showcase where you can check it out on your mobile device and it should work fine. So for example, in the data components, you have the data tables and so on, where you can resize columns, add pagination. So for example, doing something like this is quite easy. You just need to say paginator true. Give me a paginator with 10 rows each. So PrimeFaces will display you paginator. If you need to do some sorting like this or multiple sorting, we can have, okay, I have this data table and sort by ID and so on. We also lazy loading. If you have 10 million records, you can also do lazy loading as well. Or if you need selections, we can have various selection methods. So if you want to have radio-based or checkbox-based, we can just say, okay, this column should be a checkbox column, and PrimeFaces will display checkboxes. And of course, you have a lot of filterings and things, and editing as well. So if you say this table is editable, we can have an editable table. That was about data table, and we have, of course, the panels and the tab views and everything, closable, Ajax tabs, so on. And there are various menu types from mega menus and toolbars and so on. You can build them with Java APIs as well. Of course, we have charts. There's a charts and so on. We have some responsive grid CSS where you can place your things. It's kind of lightweight, so it's responsive as well, where you can just lay out your forms and so on. And of course, the file upload is kind of cool. We are using Ajax file upload here. So if I have some, let's say, image file here, I can just drag and drop this and upload. So it's quite easy. You just need to say p5, give me a file upload, drag and drop is true, allow only images, maximum file is done, and that's it. So when the user uploads it, you get the file here. So it's in PrimeFaces, everything is about productivity. Of course, this demo, there are more than 100 components, so I would suggest if you're interested, go and check out online and play with the demos as well, and hopefully you will like them. So another thing, it's more like an enterprise feature. So you have your main page and some other small pages where you like to go to that child page, get some data and come back. So instead of navigation, we have this dialog framework. So we open that page in a small dialog and then you can retrieve data. So from main page, if you call the PrimeFaces Open Dialog API, we create a dialog for you on the fly, just in one line. We put the target XHTML inside, and in that case, you call close dialog. We retrieve that data in that child page and retrieve that and send it back to the main.xhtml. So small demo here. We have also have this here, basic data. So here I'm on this main page, and this is the page I'm interested in where I display a list of cars in a data table, right? So in that case, I'm just calling open dialog, select car. So PrimeFaces will generate you a dialog, and here in this button here we can say send back the selected car and close the dialog. And on the main page, I can get that car in this Java method. So a couple of lines, and you can easily generate a dialog and get the car back to your main page. So dialog framework really cuts down and simplifies your page navigations, since we can open dialogs quickly. Okay, this was done. Client-side validation is one of my favorite features. It took like a month to do that, but it's now working quite good. So in JSF, validations are server-side, right? Everything. So just to do a check on a simple required field, you have to go back to the server, post all these data, do a small if check, and come back. But lately, with all this JavaScript going on in the latest technologies, we have decided to implement the client-side validation. It's fully 100% compatible with server-side validation. And the bean validation, like JSR, is 3 hibernate validator implementation. So we are supporting that as well. So in case you can just annotate your fields, and PrimeFaces can do client-side validation based on your annotations. There's an extension API. You can generate your own client-side validation and conversions as well. And there are events, like instead of waiting for a button click, you can do like on key up, do my validation. So this is a standard client validation. You can see that there is no client-side validate true attribute. It's the same standard JSF where you have a double range validator, a required field validator, and so on. So if you have this page, PrimeFaces, when you post the page with a button, PrimeFaces will retrieve these information and first handle the validation on the client side, which is quite nice. For example, if you check this, so we have, as you can see, we have this required validation and minimum 5, maximum 8, and so on. So here I'm just posting this, and I can just make some invalid data as well. And as you can see, there's no post back to the server. All these components are key messages and so on. So for example, in this button, the client-side validation is disabled. So if I just do it on the server side, as you can see, of course the page is posted and I get the same result back. But I can also do it here. And instead of going to the server, I can just do it here easily. So as I mentioned, we have this client-side vendors, so we generate these messages on the client side. Localization is also supported. Another nice thing about client-side validation is the bean validation integration. So you have this annotations on your backend model, like minimum 10 characters and maximum 10, so that integer is 10 to 20, and we have these assertions in past, future days, and so on. You can also use the hibernate validator zone stuff. In that case, the page gets really simplified because this is JSF can use these annotations and do the server-side validation using those. But JSF has no way of doing that on the client side until PrimeFaces client-side validation framework. So how it works, here, this is the bean validation. So we have these annotations here, right? Size minimum 2 to 5, and so on. And the page is quite simple. There's no validation constraints here. We just bound their values. And if you do a click again, the client-side validation is triggered, and the constraints are retrieved from the server-side annotations back to the client, and we do the validation here. And it's quite lightweight. We are using HTML5 data attributes, so we keep those annotations on elements. So when you write an annotation like required or something, or at not null, we push that to the element here using the data attributes. So we tried this in 2007 or something, that we had no jQuery or data attributes, but now with the latest technologies we were able to do this. Okay, so that was client-side validation. And themes. So we are using jQuery theme roller. It works, but they don't really look that professional and great, but for most of the time they will do the job. So we have, I guess, 35 themes already available. From the base theme is Aristo, and we also have some themes from RenderKit or Visual themes in case you decided to migrate from RenderKit. You can do it easily. And we also have a Twitter Bootstrap theme. If you like the UI of Bootstrap with all the blue colors and things, we also have this theme. So these are all free. You can just download the theme, install it in your application, and all the PrimeFaces themes will look like Bootstrap. Also, if you like the Windows Metro UI, we also have this Metro UI theme. It's more like flat. The CSS is really customizable. For example, let me show you this theme. So I think I can't show you Metro. We also have a theme switcher component where you can switch the theme on the fly. So we have the default theme is Aristo, and we have all the themes here. Let's check out Cupertino, which is the blue theme from Theme Roller. It's all blue. Let's check out Bootstrap. This is one from Trinidad, Oracle ADF, Casablanca theme. So this is Bootstrap, so you might be already familiar. It's been used a lot of web pages these days. So all the web pages look the same. Let's see. Yeah, so it's the same command button, and it looks like Bootstrap. And we have also the data table, for example. It kind of looks good on some components like pick list and so on, or the trees and tree tables. And in the PrimeFace 5.2 is coming out soon. We have this nice diagram component as well. If you need to draw some diagrams, you can have you can put elements and connect them and add some interactivity as well. Create something. These are based on SVG, JS Plant library. So it's quite easy to render these kind of stuff. But it's not very skinnable because it's its own design theme and so on. Well, if you don't like the default themes, I mean every organization their design colors and things, of course, you can log into Theme Roller and create your own theme. I will do it briefly. So installing a theme, you just need to download it from our repository and edit your class path and say, okay, my theme is PrimeFace.theme, context parameter should be, this can be a static text or an EL expression so that you can you can configure different themes for different users or let your users choose them. And rolling your own is easy if you don't have many experience in CSS and designing themes. You can log into Theme Roller here. For example, it's a nice designer. You can change let's make it yellow, some borders. Of course, you need to spend more time, of course. It's pretty ugly, but okay. So buttons and things, it will take some time, of course, create a theme. Then if you click download, it will give you a zip file, and there's a converter online, Prime Theme Roller to jar converter. So you can give this zip file to that application, and it will give you back a jar file which you can use. Of course, we've taken this another level, and lately, like it's been 2 weeks, we have introduced more professional designs like which we call Sentinel. This is so until now we've been providing just the components, but no layouts. So that was a basic layout component, but in this Sentinel, we are also providing layout, responsive layouts, where you have the menus on the left side, top bar with some small menus, filters, and so on top of the components. So since February, we are providing these premium themes and layouts. The first one is called Sentinel. It's been out already for 2 weeks. It's getting quite popular in the PrimeFace community. So we have layout plus the theme. So it's fully responsive. So if you download the Sentinel layout, you will get this layout. On the left side menu, we will have the layout plus all the buttons and tables are skinned to be compatible with the design of Sentinel. So these are the, this is the theme part. So we have the theme plus the layout. So let me show you Sentinel. Okay, so this is the Sentinel layout. We have this menu here and another menu here. We have the forms. This menu can be toggleable. And for example, if you check out the data table, we have sorting everything. These are kind of flat, not completely flat, but of course it's responsive as well. So on a mobile device, even the PrimeFace components are getting responsive. So if you just expand it or check out the data grid, for example, it's the same story with data grid. On smaller devices, it will just adjust itself. So you don't need to do anything. If you get the layout and the PrimeFace components, everything will just work. And we plan to provide one premium layout every month. So this one is Sentinel, and the next one is Spark. Not to be confused with Apache Spark. It's totally different things. This is Spark. So we are in this Spark. The menu will be on the top. So every month we will provide different layouts. One will have menu on the left, on the right, and things like that with different colors. There will be running. It will be black, red, and white. That will be for April. So PrimeFaces Mobile is a utility library. So you know, in the mobile, you either do in the mobile a responsive web page or do a separate web page. If you try to do something like a Bootstrap or Sentinel, where you decide to do one page that will work on all devices, you can choose that path. Or if you want to have some mobile-only pages where you keep the same backing beans and just change the UI, then PrimeFaces Mobile will help. It's a different page, but it's just the header is different. Then you can just reuse these parts. Nice thing about JSF is that you can have different renders. So here we have the input text, buttons, everything is rendered for mobile. So here we have, this is also powered by jQuery Mobile. So let's check out the Twitter application here, the PrimeFaces Mobile. Let's see. So of course I need to just make it a bit more mobile looking. So this is our web page where you have, there's no specific mobile components for the basic stuff. If you put this on the core pages, it will totally look different, but in here they're optimized. So this is saying there is no mobile specific thing on the backend. So you can reuse this backend in different XHTML files. So let's see what PrimeFaces has. So it's actually dataless. So dataless looks like this in mobile world, but in the desktop version, or let's say the regular version, original version, it looks like this. Okay, I have 15 minutes more. And PrimeFaces push. Does anyone need something like this, like pushing data from server to the client instantly in real time? Yeah, probably at some point you needed that. Of course, these latest technologies, WebSockets and so on, things are easy, but it's a different story in real life. All of the promise was good. So PrimeFaces has a module called PrimeFaces Push. It is developed by Async.io company. They are based in Quebec, who are also a good friend of us, led by Jean-François Arcan, who was an ex-Sun engineer. Now is working on the Atmosphere project based on he created a company around it. And we are partners with them, and they created the push for us. It's based on Atmosphere. Atmosphere is a generic Java push framework where it handles the different browsers. It uses WebSockets on, let's say, latest version of Chrome, but it uses streaming or long polling for IE6. So it works on almost all browsers, on mobile devices as well. Plus, it handles the server-side compatibility as well. You can run the same code on Jetty, Tomcat, Glassfish, JBoss, and so on. So you don't need to worry about the container-specific APIs. And it's very scalable. It's a quite popular framework in gaming websites, gaming applications created with Java, and also used in Wall Street Journal as well. So it's proven to be scalable and portable. And the nice thing is that by default it uses WebSockets, and that falls back to streaming or SSE and things like that. So the push is here. You can also just go online and test this stuff as well. So, for example, we have this push counter. So, let's check this out. So if I click this button, then it's in real time we are pushing that event to the others. So code is quite easy. So we have a regular form with the backing bean. So this is the number we are pushing. On the client side, we need to create a socket saying that I am connecting to counter channel. You can also create dynamic channels for chat application and so on. And when I receive this message, we are serializing the Java object to JSON, and you can retrieve that on the client side here. So whatever has been being pushed, you can retrieve it as JSON. You can push objects, lists as well. So to push something, like, let's say, or publish, we are getting the event pass and publishing to that channel. And here, whenever I click something, instantly to everyone connected, it's being pushed. So another nice demo was chicken. sometimes it doesn't work, but let's see if it will work this time. So it's using PrimeFaces mobile UI. So here, let's check in. We were sending the coordinates to any other connected user, and the last demo will be about chart. For example, here, if I this is the right one is Firefox. If I connect, I'm updating the chart here, saying that 2 users. The one was from Firefox. If I just connect again from Firefox, I'm just increasing that. And if I do Chrome a bit more, if you had Safari, let's say. So it's changing dynamically. And the last demo is it's a kind of fun demo, where you can take your, believe it or not, there's a photo component where you can take your picture with PrimeFaces. You're running out of ideas. So I'm just taking my picture and sending to everyone, even to the Safari guy here. So, yeah, so everyone is getting that. So this is online, so if you go online and wait for 10 minutes, you can see somebody's face playing with the online demo. Okay, that was push. Okay, so lately we are also interested in creating our widgets. As I mentioned, we have these widgets, all JavaScript and CSS, and we are trying to decouple them from JSF. And we created this project called PrimeUI, which will be the base of our maybe future projects, non-JSF related projects. This is called PrimeUI. It's only JavaScript and CSS. It's a set of jQuery UI plugins. It works with, let's say, any RESTful web service. You can connect it to a Jersey web service, get data from there as JSON, or you can use PHP, Spring MVC, and so on. So you can get the same UI, but with a different technology, the technology of your preference. Again, if you work with jQuery UI a little bit, it is you just need to provide this sample element, then we will enhance it. For example, if you have the spinner input and call PUI, which we call PrimeUI, PUI spinner, then you will get the PrimeFaces spinner with no JSF. And if you have this UL and D elements in some tabs, if you call the tab view, then you will get the tab. Of course, in the JSF world, we have these attributes, orientation left, on top chain, and so on. In the client-side world, you just need to, of course, provide them as some JavaScript object. So the PrimeUI is also online here on primefaces.org. It is a subset of, there are I guess 40 widgets. We will change this showcase a bit. For example, let's check out the data table. Of course, it will require more work. For example, this one is using the local JavaScript array. This one is connecting to a remote web service. If you check this out, check out source code, for example. We have this simple divs. And for the local one, I'm just creating a data table with some dummy data, with selection modes and so on. For the remote one, I'm just providing what columns I have, and the data source is a callback where I do an Ajax call with jQuery to RESTful. This is a Georgia service where I'm calling the service and getting all this JSON data. And I have almost all the features here with selections and so on. So, as I mentioned, we have almost tabs, list boxes, forms. So almost all the important components are ported as PrimeUI widgets. So this is the core of our future projects. Lately, we are interested in porting PrimeUI and PrimeFaces to other popular frameworks as well. We call it Vanilla Prime. So if you are using LiveRay or plan to use LiveRay and create a JSF-based portlet, it's a good time to do that because the LiveRay Faces project, they have a nice bridge which works with PrimeFaces nicely, except the data exporter. They are pushing us to do some changes so that it will work in LiveRay. We are partners with LiveRay, so we work with them. So whenever there's an issue in LiveRay, in PrimeFaces, they send it to us, and we also do the same when we had an issue with LiveRay. So when they send us something, we send it back. On the cloud, PrimeFaces has nice demos on App Engine or Elastic as well, so it works fine. The documentation is around 600 pages, so it's a good, let's see this one. So it's a PDF file. For example, let's check out how to use the autocomplete component. It starts with what attributes the component has and how to use it, starting from simple examples to advanced, like how to, let's say, put some custom content inside, drop-down modes, multiple mode, where you can have multiple autocompletes, and client-side API, all the events, skinning guide, and so on. So this document goes on for quite 600 pages. It describes all the features. And of course, there are some books. Author is also one of the authors, Mert, is with us today. He is the co-author of PrimeFaces Cookbook. A new version is coming, I guess. Tech Publishing is really interested in PrimeFaces. There are a couple of video courses as well in PrimeFaces. The community is what makes an open source project a real open source project, right? So in PrimeFaces we have this nice forum. It's a great knowledge base, more than 200,000 posts and close to 50,000 members. And if you are looking for support, then the first place will be the support forum. And PrimeFaces we download around 150,000, the latest version. So the forum is also, as I mentioned, the first place to ask for help. And if you are using NetBeans, we have some good news because NetBeans team really loves PrimeFaces, and we also work with them time to time. So if you download NetBeans, PrimeFaces bundle, plus there are some plugins, so to generate your UIs from your database or from your entity classes of JPA entities. So if you choose a new application with JavaServer Faces, the PrimeFaces pops up, and there's the NetBeans plugin. If you have some tables, it can do reverse engineering. So if you give the database connection URL, it will just retrieve your tables, like available tables and selected tables. It will just create your entities from those tables and create your UI. And it can also do the other way, where you can create some JP entities, it will create the tables plus the UIs. So it can do both. And these files, they're using only EJBs. I don't know if they're using Spring-based application. So here you can say which template you are using. PrimeFaces is available there, and customized template is it's a velocity template, so you can change the template based on your application. So you can add menus, even you can add Sentinel, so that it will create some, let's say, Sentinel-like layout. And this is the basic version of the generated code. Of course, it will look much better if you customize the template. Let's say on the top menu, you can just say another left side menu like the Sentinel menu. So what's the business model? It's an open source project. All the community versions are open source and fully featured, like 5 and 5.1. We have like a 3 or 4 month release cycle. And in between, if you need these minor releases like 5.1.1, we provide an elite subscription. It is $249 per year for a developer. And if you say, if you're happy with the 5.0 or 5, if you like to wait with 5.1, then you don't need an elite subscription. So you can just wait, or you can build the code from source. But if you don't want to deal with all these things, you can just get an elite subscription. All the changes are also available in the trunk, which was on Google Code, but now it's shutting down, so we are moving to probably GitHub. So PrimeFace Pro is the commercial support service. So if you're having a problem with PrimeFaces, get an instant answer or get a new feature developed, like new components, some improvement, you might consider PrimeFace Pro. Remember one of the first slides I've shown all those logos of the enterprises. They are mostly PrimeFace Pro users, and we are providing them support on a daily basis. So the roadmap is, right now we are at 5.1. Probably next week, after we get back home, we will do 5.2. Because it's been like 4 months, I guess, and it's the time, and it's quite ready, except one small issue that we need to fix. We plan to improve the current feature set by adding more enhancements and performance improvements. And new components, actually, we are kind of out of ideas, so if you have some feedback for a component, I would like to hear it. And more premium themes and layouts are coming, like the Spark will be available in end of March, and Ronin will be available end of April, and more will come. And they will be available in PrimeFaces market. And we also plan to port these PrimeFaces widgets to other frameworks. We are just playing with all these JS frameworks. We will choose one of them, and if the APIs are good, we will create some reusable widgets for that framework. Most of the JS frameworks provide some sort of reusable UI APIs like Angular or Knockout. We are also just playing with them, flirting with them right now. So that's it for the presentation. If you have any questions, our email is contact, Twitter. PrimeFace is one of the most popular frameworks on Twitter. We have around 10,000 or 7,000 followers. Facebook group is also close to 10,000 users. And the blog is the best way to get notified from the recent news and releases. So thank you very much. So if you have any questions, I guess we have 3 minutes for questions. Of course, you can find me after the presentation as well.
You managed to fund the development through like crew subscriptions?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have a small team, like 7 people, so our costs are low, and luckily we have managed to do this without an investment or so. PrimeFaces, the Pro and the Elite is kind enough, and lately we have introduced this optional premium layouts like Sentinel. They're also adding value to the funding, so we are okay right now. So.
You mentioned the PrimeFace Foundation.
And the Prime UI Foundation. So, I mean, I'm a PrimeFace Foundation, meaning that all the businesses around PrimeFaces, widgets and UI, and we plan to expand this from JSF to other technologies as well. So what we did for JSF, we plan to do it for other frameworks. Of course, they will be open source and so on. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for joining.
We'd like to thank you for giving you this wireless Bluetooth speaker,
Thank you very much.
sponsored by Bird Science.
Thank you.